Sedna, red ghost at the edge of the abyss. Imagine. You are standing on the edge of a cliff. Darkness below. Absolute. Impenetrable. And suddenly, in this darkness, a red dot lights up. Far away. So far that the light from the sun almost does not reach there. This is Sedna. A dwarf planet that we discovered quite recently. In 2003. And she still hasn't revealed her secrets to us. California. Palomar Observatory. The night of November 14, 2003. A group of astronomers led by Michael Brown is looking at images of the far regions of the solar system. This is routine work. Hundreds of pictures. Thousands of points. And suddenly there was a flash on the screen. Something is moving. Slowly. Almost imperceptibly. But it moves. Brown leans closer to the monitor. His heart beats faster. It's not an asteroid. Too big. This is not a comet. Too far away. This is something completely new. They named it Sedna, after the Inuit goddess of the ocean. A goddess who lives at the bottom of the sea abyss, in the icy darkness. Where there is never light. An ideal name for an object that is located at the very edge of our world. Where everything familiar ends. Where the unknown begins. But when scientists began to study Sedna more closely, they realized one thing. This is not just another block of ice beyond Pluto. This is an anomaly. This is a mystery that turns our understanding of the solar system upside down. Let's stop for a second and understand the scale. The Earth is located at a distance of 150 million kilometers from the Sun. 1 astronomical unit. This is the distance that light travels in 8 minutes. Mars is 1.5 astronomical units. Jupiter is 5. Pluto has 39 astronomical units. It's already far away. Very far away. There, the sun looks like a bright star. No more. And Sedna? Sedna at the closest point of its orbit is at a distance of 76 astronomical units. Twice as far away as Pluto. There, the sun is just a dot in the sky. Bright, but tiny. There, the cold is so deep that even nitrogen freezes into the stone. But that's not all. Its orbit is not a circle. This is an elongated ellipse. A monstrous ellipse. At the farthest point. Sedna is 937 astronomical units away from the Sun. Read this number again. 937. So that you understand, the gravity of the Sun is almost not felt there. The Oort Cloud begins there. Interstellar space begins there. That's where our house ends. 1 revolution around the Sun takes Sedna. 11,400 years. 11,000 years. When Sedna was last at its closest point to the Sun, the Ice Age on Earth had just ended. Mammoths still roamed the Siberian steppes. People were just beginning to build the first settlements. Civilization did not exist. And Sedna was already flying in her incredible orbit. And now it is approaching us again. But here's what's strange. Where does it get such an orbit? Objects in the solar system do not arise with such trajectories just like that. Something threw her there. Jupiter's gravity? No. Too far. Collision with another object? It's possible. But it is unlikely. The influence of a passing star? An interesting version. Or was it captured by the sun from another system? Maybe Sedna wasn't born here at all. Maybe it once orbited another star and was stolen by our sun billions of years ago. This thought is fascinating. Imagine an object that remembers other worlds. An object that was seen by another sun. And now he is here. At the edge of our system. A silent witness to ancient cataclysms. But there is another version. A version that makes scientists stay awake at night. What if Sedna was thrown into such an orbit? A massive planet? A planet that we still haven't found. Planet X, Planet 9. It is called so many things. A giant that hides in the dark. Somewhere out there. Beyond the orbit of Neptune. Hundreds of astronomical units from us. The idea seems crazy. But mathematics says that it can exist. The orbit of Sedna. The orbits of other Trans-Neptunian objects. They all seem to be lined up in a certain direction. As if something is leveling them out. Something big. Computer models show that there may be a planet the size of Neptune. The mass is 10 times greater than the Earth. Orbit at a distance of 400 to 800 astronomical units. But why don't we see it? Because it's dark. Cold. It reflects almost no light. And it moves so slowly that it is almost impossible to notice it among millions of stars. One revolution around the sun takes this hypothetical planet from 10 to 20,000 years. She is a ghost. She is a shadow. And Sedna is a trace of her presence. Now, let's talk about what makes Sedna truly weird. Its color. When astronomers were able to study the spectrum of Sedna's surface, they saw something unexpected. It's red. Not just reddish. Deep red. Deep red. Almost like Mars. But Mars is red because of iron oxide. Because of rust. And Sedna? Sedna is covered with organic compounds, tholins. Tholins are complex molecules. They are formed when ultraviolet radiation and cosmic rays bombard a surface covered in methane and nitrogen. Millions of years of radiation. Millions of years of chemical reactions. And as a result, this blood-red color. But here's what's strange. Sedna is so far from the sun that there is almost no ultraviolet there. Where did the tholins come from? One of the versions is that Sedna was formed closer to the sun. Where there was more warmth. More radiation. There, its surface was covered with this red layer. And then, something threw her to the edge of the system. Gravitational cataclysm. Maybe in the first millions of years of the solar system's existence. When the planets have not yet taken their final positions. When everything was chaos. Imagine a young solar system. Jupiter migrates inward. Then he goes back. Its gravity hurls objects in all directions. Asteroids. Comets. Protoplanets. And among them is Sedna. A small icy world that was in the wrong place at the wrong time. The giant's gravity picks it up. And throws it into the darkness. To an orbit from which there is no return. But there is another version. More alarming. What if the red color of Sedna is the traces of an ancient catastrophe? What if it once collided with another object? The impact was so powerful that it melted part of the surface. The organic matter has evaporated. She reacted. Painted the whole planet. And now Sedna is carrying this wound. Red scar. A reminder that space is a cruel place. The size of Sedna is also controversial. According to various estimates, it is from 900 to 1,000 kilometers in diameter. This is less than our moon. But more than the largest asteroids. Is it big enough to be called a dwarf planet? Does it have enough mass to take on a rounded shape under the influence of its own gravity? We don't know for sure yet. It's too far away. Too dim. But if it's really a dwarf planet, that makes it one of the most distant in our system. Beyond Pluto. Then Eris. Next is Makemake. A lonely red world on the edge of the abyss. Now let's talk about temperature. On the surface of Sedna, it is minus 240 degrees Celsius. This is colder than on Pluto. Colder than in liquid nitrogen. At this temperature, methane freezes harder than steel. Carbon dioxide is as hard as a rock. Even hydrogen begins to condense. If you could stand on the surface of Sedna, you would see the sun. A small bright dot. Brighter than any star in our sky. But still, a full stop. Not a disk. Not a circle. Period. And this point gives so little light that eternal twilight reigns on Sedna. Not night. But not a day either. Twilight. Endless twilight. And what is there, in the sky of Sedna? Stars. Billions of stars. They do not flicker, there is no atmosphere. They burn with a steady, cold light. And among them is the band of the Milky Way. Brighter and clearer than we've ever seen from Earth. Because there is no light interference there. Only darkness. And the stars. Sometimes something else appears in the sky of Sedna. Neptune. A distant blue dot. Or Jupiter is the brightest planet even from this distance. But Earth? The Earth cannot be seen with the naked eye from Sedna. Even if you had a telescope, it would be lost in the glare of the sun. We are invisible to Sedna. And what about the surface? We can only guess. No spacecraft has ever flown past Sedna. Never took a picture up close. But scientists paint a picture based on data. Ice plains. Endless. Reddish. Covered with a thin layer of frozen methane and nitrogen. Maybe there are craters there. Traces of ancient collisions with asteroids and comets. Craters that are billions of years old. Which have never been erased by wind or water, because they are not there. Maybe there are cracks there. Huge faults formed when Sedna slowly cooled after forming. Or when she was thrown into this insane orbit. And what's inside? Most likely, ice. Water ice mixed with stone. The core is made of silicate rocks. No life. No heat. Only cold. And silence. Silence that lasts for billions of years. But here's what's interesting. Sedna is not alone. In recent years, we have found other objects with similar orbits. 2012 VP-113, nicknamed Biden by astronomers. The orbit is from 80 to 446 astronomical units. Another outcast. Another red ghost. And this makes you think. Maybe there, beyond Neptune. Is there a whole belt of such objects? Inner Oort Cloud. Thousands of icy worlds that we just can't see. They are too dim. They are too far away. But they are there. Silent witnesses to the birth of our system. And if that's true, then our solar system is much bigger than we thought. It does not end with Pluto. It doesn't even end at Kuiper's belt. It stretches for thousands of astronomical units, gradually dissolving into interstellar space. Without a clear boundary. Just a smooth transition from light to dark. Now let's return to Planet 9. This hypothesis is becoming more and more popular. In 2016, Konstantin Batygin and Michael Brown, the same Brown who discovered Sedna, published a study. They analyzed the orbits of 6 Trans-Neptunian objects. And they discovered a strange pattern. All of them are lined up in the same direction. As if something organizes them. The probability of chance is less than 1%. And their orbits are tilted at the same angle. This cannot be a coincidence. Something evens them out. Computer simulations showed that if you add a massive planet to the system at a certain location, everything falls into place. The orbits of objects are aligned. The math converges. A planet with a mass 5 to 10 times that of Earth. The orbit is at a distance of 400 to 800 astronomical units. The inclination of the orbit is about 30 degrees to the plane of the ecliptic. But where is she? Why didn't we find it? Because space is huge. Even if you know roughly where to look, it's like looking for a black cat in a dark room. The size of a continent. And you only have a flashlight. Several observatories are conducting systematic searches. Subaru Telescope in Hawaii. Gemini Observatory. Soon the new Vera Rubin telescope will join the search. It will scan the sky every few nights. Look for objects that are moving. And maybe, he will find it. Imagine this happening. The news will fly around the world in a matter of hours. Planet 9. Found. This will be the first discovery of a new planet in the solar system since 1846. From the moment they found Neptune. Almost 200 years. And Sedna will play a key role in this. Because it is its strange orbit that is one of the main clues. It is like breadcrumbs. A trail left by a giant who hides in the dark. A red ghost indicating an invisible titan. But even if Planet 9 doesn't exist, Sedna is still amazing. It shows us how dynamic the young solar system was. How chaotic. The planets migrated. The orbits changed. Objects were hurled from the inner regions to the edge of the system. And back. Sedna is a window into the past. At a time when our world was just being formed. When there was no stability. When everything was in motion. She remembers this time. In its orbit. In its composition. In its red color. It is a time capsule. And now imagine the following picture. 11,000 years pass. Sedna completes its orbit around the Sun. There is a different civilization on Earth. Or there is no civilization at all. Maybe humanity left the planet a long time ago. Maybe we are no longer there. But Sedna continues on its way. Indifferent to the fate of small creatures on the third planet. She saw how we appeared. She'll see us disappear. And she will continue her dance in the dark. Over and over again. Billions of years. There is something creepy about this thought. But also something beautiful. The universe exists on time scales that we cannot comprehend. We are a flash. A moment between the two pericods of Sedna. But at that moment we manage to see her. To understand that it exists. Think about its origin. We are small creatures that live for a few decades. But we are looking into the abyss of time. And the abyss looks at us. Sedna still keeps her secrets. We don't know where it came from. We do not know what threw it into this orbit. We don't know if Planet 9 is there. But we are looking for answers. And every year we learn more. New telescopes. New technologies. Maybe in 10 years we will send a probe to Sedna. A small device that will fly for decades. And when he finally gets to the goal, we will see Sedna up close. Its red plains. Its ancient craters. Its mysterious surface. Or maybe we'll find Planet 9. And then the history of the solar system will be rewritten. Another world. Another giant. A world that has been hiding in the dark for thousands of years. But his time will come. Sedna teaches us humility. It shows that our solar system is not as simple as we thought. That there, beyond the orbit of Neptune, there is a whole world that we are just beginning to discover. The world of red ghosts. The world of ice outcasts. A world where the rules of gravity write history for billions of years to come. And somewhere out there, in this darkness, something else may be hiding. Something we don't even know about. Another world. Another mystery. Another red ghost waiting to be found. Because space is not what we see. This is what is hidden beyond our vision. In the dark. In the cold. In silence. And Sedna is one of those who remind us of this. A red dot on the edge of the abyss. Silent. Ancient. Mysterious. And incredibly beautiful.